and welcome to A Light Chat. It's a short interview series where we discuss all things relevant to lighting. As always, Frank Grobmeyer will be on board, but we're very excited today because Nancy Clanton, founder and CEO of Clanton Associates, will be joining us today. It's a lighting design and engineering firm out of Boulder, Colorado, who has won numerous awards for all their work. Interesting thing that I like about their business is many of the lighting designers and engineers on their staff are women, which segues nicely into our topic today, women in lighting. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Nancy, I'm so excited to see you. Thanks and welcome to the show.
Thank you. What an honor. Wow, we get to talk about light. I'm excited.
It's not often people are more excited about lighting than me and Frank, especially Frank. So
we're lighting nerds.
how did you get so excited about lighting? And at what point in your life did you get excited about lighting?
Well, it actually was back in college when I was at engineering school and I really wanted to go on acoustics because I love sound, everything about it. But then my professor left the university and I was going, what am I going to do? Well, I'll go to structural engineering. I've taken all the classes. And back then someone said, no, girls can't go into structural engineering. You don't go on job sites. That doesn't happen. And so he said, go into lighting. Waves are waves, sound waves, light waves. And so I met Dr. Ron Helms. He was a professor there, and he took us on a journey. As students, we just started creating, and I fell in love with light.
And what school was that? Was that University of Colorado Boulder?
Yes, it was the University of Colorado Boulder, way back in the early 70s.
Obviously, if you're interested in structural engineering, you had the STEM side of your brain working very well. What was it about lighting that once you got into it, you really were captured by it?
Lighting was just noticing how it created scenes and reading John Flynn's work on, if you just downlight, it's kind of not real inviting. And learning on how we look at light, that surfaces, and Frank, you know this, that the vertical surface is the most important surface to light. And then second is the ceiling. And yet all of everything about the standards and things were about, no, we need foot candles, on the horizontal surface. And I started learning that that's not the most important thing. It's what we see and balance and getting daylight in. That daylight can fill in that balance and give creativity to it.
You were quite young when you started your firm. Were you ready, do you think, at the time?
No, not at all. Not whatsoever. No, Dr. Helms, who was my professor, invited me to come and join his little firm called Lumineering. I wasn't ready. I just got my professional engineering license so I could stamp plans, but I wasn't ready.
Well, it sounds like everything worked out pretty well.
It did. It did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hallmark of your work has been sustainable lighted environments. And I'm trying to think back in those days if that was really part of the curriculum, or was it still in its infancy talking about sustainable lighting?
Sustainable lighting was part of the curriculum because Dr. Helms felt that light is so important and how you work with it. It just wasn't, like I mentioned, just doing foot candles, that it's lighting or painting the scene. And then, of course, the differences between different light sources and how the efficacy of them, and then controls, being able to adjust the lighting, dim the lighting.
I wanted to ask you one thing I noticed when I looked at your team biography is you have so many women that work as lighting designers and engineers on your team. How was that a natural progression for you being a woman leader?
I do think it's a natural progression. Diversity has always been in my one of my passions. And again, going back to engineering school, I, for the first time, understood of what being different was and not being the normal. When I'm one of two women in a school of engineering, you feel very odd. In fact, we didn't even have girl bathrooms. That's how bad it was. This is Colorado.
Yeah, really.
I tell the dean's secretary when she found out, she put a big sign up saying girls and stood there all day and told all the boys, you have to go down the hallway. When we finally said, we don't want to walk to the business school and go to the bathroom in between classes.
I guess there's some perks.
Exactly. And my first job, I was the only woman out of 50 engineers. Now, over 40% or more of engineering students are girls. And I'm so glad. A couple of my female blind designers, engineers have said that they were attracted to my business because of that.
How do women typically approach problems differently than men? Have you noticed something about the way they do that?
It's different. Some women are very tuned into the people in the space and what they can do. They're very tied into the tenants and the end result. But yet I have some men that do the same thing.
The women designers I've seen take the human element, the human characteristics into a workspace, maybe a little more than some of the male designers. Not to knock the male designers and not to knock the science behind it, but it is, as the IES has said, it truly is an art and science of lighting. It's not just a science of lighting.
The art and science of lighting. And that's what people need to keep remembering, that lighting is art, but it's also based on science. And how do we incorporate into human health? And that's where I see a lot of my team, especially the women, are exploding on the human health. I'm hoping that all the degrees, all the science degrees, that there's no difference. Everyone's in it equally, to encourage young girls into math.
So you've done a lot of national projects, a lot of work with standards. Is there anything that sticks out in your career, in your mind, that you really enjoyed, that's something you're very incredibly proud of, this particular project or this particular avenue you've gone down in your career?
And we are now writing a whole standard on daylighting. And realizing we can't tell someone in Africa that they have to use the US standards for daylighting. What is the definition of quality view and the importance on anxiety of people? So that's my new passion, is to equity of views for everyone. That no matter who you are, you get a view. Can you imagine, Frank, if we could match the natural spectrum of the night that we grew up with, and that was our outdoor lighting. So lighting could be look white, but be the natural bandwidth and not disturb. We wouldn't disturb animals, plants, anything. That's my dream. I
think we'll get there someday. The technology is advancing at such a fast pace, and the minds are there to try to do it.
Frank, I don't know about you, but I feel a little smarter. I mean, anytime I talk to someone smarter than me, I feel smarter, but I feel way smarter talking to Nancy now.
Well, not only smarter, but it gives me much better hope for the future. You're such a positive energy. I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you. We're just at the beginning of our journey. We're at the beginning. That rainbow's out there. It's there for a reason. And we're just going to keep doing more rainbows.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Nancy, so much for joining us today. People can reach you at the Clanton Associates website, correct?
You bet.
Awesome.
Yeah, sure, you bet you don't, you know. You can tell I grew up in northern Minnesota, don't you know?
I hate her.
I love a Minnesota accent.
Oh,
Thank you to Nancy and Frank, and thank you for watching this episode of A Like Chat. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Natural LED channel and follow us for future episodes on YouTube. We hope to see you soon.